Okay, friends, today's reading comes from Alexis Pauline Gumbs and her book Undrowned. It's a very kind of poetic, metaphorical way of looking at feminist theory and through marine mammals, dolphins, whales, and stuff. And she researched for real, like what dolphins do and how they survive, and different kinds of whales and things that are extinct, and what lessons we can learn from these mammals. So, here's a little bookmark. Ooh, my mom made this. She's so clever. She like folds paper and makes all kinds of little stampy things. She's so cool. So anyway, I really want to read the whole book to you, but that's illegal. So I'm just going to paraphrase of what she's saying about the practices that dolphins have. So dolphins specifically have dorsal fins, and they use dorsal fins to kind of help course correct them during difficult seas. And that's a fabulous metaphor. Like, what if we had dorsal fins to help us navigate the turbulent waters of life, right? She says, how can we navigate oppressive environments with core practices that build community, resistance, and more loving ways of living? And I love that. So I was like writing about that. I have what I call a commonplace journal. It's just a notebook that I got from somewhere. And I take lots of notes on everything that I read. I write down like, on page so-and-so, they said this, that, and the other, and then I write my notes of like what I think about it. So I have so many notes. I have so much to say about this. Way too much to say about this. So, I highly recommend this book. You can get it at the library. It was published, when was it published? A few years ago? 2020. So, you can probably get it used in paperback anywhere. It's not too expensive. But I would love to read this book with people and talk about it while we craft and stuff. But that's just a dream. So, okay, so first we're going to talk about my favorite thing, which is socks, knitting for socks. And when you look at patterns online, if there's a pattern that's written by a black or brown person, you don't know that it's a black or brown person. I guess you don't know if it's a white person either, but I want to specify that these patterns are black and brown people. This is part of my project, is specifying black and brown people do knit as well. So what I wanted to show you was, so I tried to do too many things at once. I thought that I would knit, in service of recognizing black and brown designers. I would pick a design by a black and brown designer and knit that pattern in a sock pattern. And I would spin some yarn for it too, because I'm also trying to find a better yarn that's better than just merino, because merino doesn't last. Merino is, it's fragile. It's not the best yarn for socks, and they know that. They know what they're doing. You're going to buy this lovely merino yarn that's beautiful, and then it's going to fall apart in a couple months, and you have to buy more, So anyway, I was looking for a more sturdy, hardcore, like this is not going to felt after a long time. So I knit the sock, and right away, it didn't fit. Right here. So this is a pattern. I'm used to knitting socks that are just vanilla socks. I knit toe up, and I use variegated yarn. The variegated yarn does all the heavy lifting, makes all the, that's why they're so pretty, and, because the variegated yarn's doing all this stuff, doing like, look at this. Like, I didn't plan that. It just did it, you know. I just cast on and started knitting. Whoopee. So so I did this sock with this hand spun yarn, not realizing that this pattern itself, which by the way comes from heybrownberry. Marceline wrote this pattern, and I'll show you that in a second. And it's a lovely sock. It's got these beautiful little designs, these little ridges that stand out that, you know, help shape and expose the beautiful variegatedness of yarn, of the sock yarn. And this, so there's different yarns in this sock. This is Cormo, which is a blend of Corriedale and Merino, so it's super soft and super yummy. So I put it on the part where it's, you know, on your leg. And the heel is some, I can't even remember what this is now, but it's like really toothy, really scratchy, really itchy yarn, but it's like hardcore. This is gonna, you know, stand up to, you know, abuse and all that. So, so that's the heel. And then this part of the foot is a sturdy yarn, but it's also a soft yarn. I think it's soft. I don't know. I'm one of those people that's like not too bothered by itchy yarn, so I'm not a very good person to, you know, determine that. But it's a yarn it's a down breed, and down breeds are well known to be good yarns to stand up to wear and tear. So so that's this one. And then the toe was BFL. It's not silk, it's just BFL. And my toes usually don't wear out too bad, so I was like, all right, whatever. But BFL it's a long staple fiber, so again, another good, you know, all these are good. Well, maybe not the Cormo, but all of down here are good, strong, sturdy fibers for socks. The problem is this design kind of pulls to get these little shapes. It's these knit two togethers that pulls in and made it kind of tight. So when I put the sock on right here, right between the, you know, the heel and the other side, the top of the foot, it was just so tight. And I was like, God damn it. So, and I made the whole thing, you know? So what am I going to, you know, am I going to take this all out? So I'm thinking about maybe taking out the heel and just adding a bigger heel. Maybe that'll cheat and make more room to get my foot in. I don't know. I'm sick of like thinking about it. So I started another sock, and then I realized that another part of the tightness was because I was using my basic size 1 needles to do this, and that was not, and she even said in the instruction, use bigger needles. So I was like, ugh. So I'm sort of cheating by using bigger needles for the front part, which has the pattern, and then my regular size 1 needles for just the back that doesn't have any pattern, that's not, you know, pulling or stretching and everything. So it's kind of weird. I knit with these needles on the front and these needles on the back, and hopefully that'll take it. So then the other piece of this was another black and brown designer I wanted to highlight is Safiyyah Talley, who makes what she calls, let's see, can you see this? 2-in-1 socks. So you're making 2 at a time. So what she does is she starts at the toe and then knits like what looks like a giant sock, but really it's like she puts stitch markers, I don't know if you can see, she puts, not stitch markers, she puts a marker, a different colored yarn, in place of where the heels and toes should be. And once she's knit the whole tube, then you cut into where the heels and toe, and then you just add the heels and toe. So it's knitting 2-in-1 socks, and it's, the whole book is like this. It's very clever. And she has patterns. I mean, mostly it's plain socks, I guess, but I mean, that's what I would do. But hers are, she's got some patterny things, and her adorable little kid. Oh my God. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do 2-in-1 with these. But then I'm looking at it and I'm going, wait, they have directions. It's like a directional thing. If I keep knitting all the way, it'll be a different direction. Like this sock will be this direction and the other sock will be that direction. So I was like, well, maybe I should just do, one at a time. Whatever. So, I'm at the point where I have to decide that. I have to decide whether I'm going to keep going or put in the waste yarn to make the barrier between the two socks. So, still thinking about that. And then the other pattern is Earthtones girls made this heel flap, this garter flap, and I'll show you that in the picture there. It's this garter stitch heel, but it is made for a sock if you're knitting a sock top down instead of toe up, and I always knit toe up. So I was like, well, maybe I should try to figure out how to do this garter stitch heel that's toe up. And it just got so confusing, and I was like, I'm trying to do so many things in one sock, and I just kind of like lost it, and I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. So I put it aside and started paper piecing and sewing and stuff. But I mean, I love sock knitting. Sock knitting is my thing. But I'm so used to, variegated yarns that are so pretty, that do all the heavy lifting, right? And you don't have to think about it. But with this sock, there's so much to think about, and so I have to rethink what I'm doing. But I did want to tell you all this so we can highlight Black and brown people who are designers. We don't do that enough as an intention. So this is my intention, is to highlight Black and brown people. We knit, we design, we spin things. We have just as much right to exist in the craft world as white people. Although all you see when you go to all the places, it's just white people. So this is my intention for that.